Algebra 1 Common Core, Unit 4, Section 4, Writing Equation Applications. So Unit 4 has been all about solving equations, and that's what we're still doing here, except we're going to have little word problems where we need to translate what's in the problem to create the equations, and then we're going to, use them to solve the equations. The one example we're going to do here is a common one that you'll see a lot is, the perimeter formula of a rectangle, and using that and a little bit of information about the length and the width to determine the dimensions of the rectangle. But it's not always about perimeter stuff. A lot of times you see age questions. Johnny is, 2 less than double the age of Jamie, and Jamie is this old. How, or it could be, a lot of times it's coins, dimes, nickels, quarters. Jimmy has this many nickels and this many dimes and so on. But it's whatever the application is. It's, taking the information in the problem, taking the words and creating an equation out of it, sometimes multiple equations, which is called a system of equations, and then figuring out ways to combine them through substitution or things like that. And we're going to see a lot more of this. We're going to have a whole thing on linear systems later on, so this is really just kind of an introduction for a little bit of that. But, this concept of translating into expressions is something we're going to see throughout the year. All right, so, the example that's up here for us, it says the perimeter formula for a rectangle is P equals 2L plus 2W. And that's because if you remember your rectangle, you have a length and a width. Well, you actually have 2 lengths and 2 widths. The long sides are the lengths, the short sides are the widths, and perimeter is the sum of this. So if you add all 4 of these things together, L plus W plus L plus W, you end up with 2 L's and 2 W's. Perimeter is the sum of the outside. And we're going to use that formula here to then solve another example. So this one that's done for us in the box here, you need to be able to translate things like the length of a rectangle is. Now, is a really important word when it comes to translating. Is the equal sign. So when you see the length of a rectangle is, you want to translate that as L equals. The length, we're just going to use L, and is equal. So the length of a rectangle is L equals 5 more than its width. 5 plus W, or W plus 5. Remember, that doesn't matter when it comes to addition. If it said 5 less than, it'd have to be W minus 5. But addition, we could go either way because it's commutative. And then they also tell you the perimeter is 26. So this is actually it's one sentence, but they're giving us 2 different things. And the perimeter is 26. So the perimeter is 26. That's P equals 26. So the length is 5 more than the width, and the perimeter is 26. So you end up with 2 things here, and again, they're given to you typed out here. And what we just want to do is, since we know this perimeter formula, we want to use that perimeter formula to substitute in these 2 things. So we're going to replace the P here with what P equals, 26. That's what you see here. And this 2 times L, we're going to replace L with what L equals, which is 5 plus W. So you see 2 times 5 plus W, because it's not 2L anymore. We replaced P and L. And the plus 2W is staying 2W, because I don't have a W equals statement to substitute. And now at this stage, it's just doing what we've been doing, solving equations. And the first things we look for, like I've been saying in class, is, do you have any fractions, if you want to clear out those denominators? Do you have any parentheses? So you can do some distribution. The answer to that second one is yes, we can do distribution in parentheses here. So that's 2 times W, and 2 times 5 gives you 2W plus 10. And then plus this 2W still out there. And 26 is just 26. Same side like terms of 2W and 2W is 4W. And then I subtracted 10 on both sides to get 16. And then divide by 4 to get the width, or W, equals 4. And then if we go back to our L equals statement, L equals W plus 5, well, now that we know W is 4, L equals 4 plus 5, the length equals 9. And that's exactly what I'm going to do down here in this next example. But again, these problems aren't limited to perimeter problems. This is just a nice example of a type of question you would see. So, all right, so talking about the perimeter of a rectangle. So again, I'm going to give you, at least in the beginning, you should memorize this pretty quickly. The perimeter formula for a rectangle is P equals 2L plus 2W. So that's a given. And now take a look at what we see here. The length of a rectangle is, so right there that means L equals 4 less than, Now 4 less than means minus 4. Is that right? Minus 4. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. A couple of just problems with the technology here. But all right, let me get back to this. So the length of the rectangle is, that's our L equals, 4 less than means minus 4, not 4 minus. You have to be careful with that. Sorry, that looks like a 9. Minus 4. And double the width, that's, 2 times. So the width, of course. So we have double the width is 2W, and 4 less than is minus 4. The mistake people are going to make here is they're going to want to do 4 minus 2W. But we've seen this before, because we have translated some things before, that when you see less than, 4 less than, that means minus 4, not 4 minus. Subtraction is not commutative. And double the width is 2 times the width, so 2W minus 4. And means new expression here. The perimeter of the rectangle is P equals 40. So you're given I'm giving you the perimeter formula, but this particular problem here tells us the length is 4 less than, double the width, and the perimeter is 40. So now I'm going to use this given formula to replace, since I have an L equals and a P equals, I'm going to replace my P in the L. So P gets replaced by 40, so that's just 40. The 2L, now I am going to use parentheses because it's an expression here. If it was just, another letter like A, it would just be 2A, but I'm replacing L with an expression of 2W minus 4, so I have to use parentheses there. So it's 2 times the length, whatever the length is. Well, the length here is 2W minus 4. And sometimes people stop there, but don't forget, this plus 2W is still part of the problem, right? Here is your P equals your 2L plus your 2W. So perimeter changed to 40, 2L changed to 2 times 2W minus 4 because I'm replacing L with what L equals, replacing P with what P equals, and 2W I didn't replace with anything because I don't have W equals to substitute it with. Sorry, it's an ugly W. All right, now we're going to do the same process we did in that little demo up above. Is the first thing I look for are fractions in parentheses. I don't have fractions, but I do have a distribution in parentheses. So 40 equals 2 times 2W is 4W minus 8, 2 times negative 4, and then plus 2W. I have same side like terms. So you don't need to change any signs, just combine them as they are. So 40 equals a 4W and a 2W is a 6W minus 8. And now I'm solving for W here. It's the only variable I have left in the expression, in the equation, excuse me. And, you want to say, is there more than one W? The answer here was yes, so we combined them. If they weren't on the same side, you want to bring them to the same side and see if you can combine them. Now that there's only one W, since it's on the right, I'm going to leave it on the right and do inverse operations to move everything else away. Like this 6 is being multiplied and the 8 is being subtracted. We always start with addition and subtraction first, the things that are not attached to it with multiplication. So I'll add 8 first, add 8. So 48 equals 6W. And then, we're going to do a little inverse operation for 6 times W. What if I divided 6 first instead of adding 8 first? Well, sometimes people think of PEMDAS, but remember when you're solving, you got to do reverse PEMDAS. So we add or subtract things away first, and then we can do with the multiplication, division stuff separately after that. So the 6W is the last stage we're at, so I'm going to divide by 6, 48 divided by 6. Certainly you could use a calculator if you need. We get W equals 8, so the width equals 8. And then you really want to take a look at one of the best habits you could have in math is reread the question, especially this part. Determine and state the length of the rectangle. We didn't do that. Sometimes people say, the length is this, 2W minus 4. No, they want the actual length. What is it? Is it 5, 6, 10, 12, 13? Well, I know W equals 8. Well, I can use that now since I know that L equals 2W minus 4. Since W is 8, I can now replace W with 8. So it's 2 times 8 minus 4. And 2 times 8 is 16 minus 4. We're going to get L equals 12. The length of the rectangle is 12. So you might as well just always find both. But sometimes people will get that W equals 8. And sometimes it'll say, what is state the width? And you're done. You're good. But if it says state the length, or if it says state the area, which for a rectangle you'd multiply these together. So make sure you translate properly, solve properly, but then you also solve what the question is specifically asking for, because sometimes it's not always just find the variable and be done. All right, that's it for 4.4.